Hey guys, so tonight I haven't done a video in a while, first of all, so bear with me when it comes to that. And tonight I'm trying something completely different, but still doing the acrylic pour type scenario. So, I'm going to attempt to do somewhat of a replica of a sunflower from one of my pictures that I took, and it came from my garden, and we're gonna see. I am cautiously optimistic, and I haven't done anything to this yet. I just finished mixing my colors, and then now I'm going to, of course, apply the base coat first of white, which I need to make sure I shake up really good. So this is going to be something completely different, and hopefully, regardless if it looks like the picture I want or not, it at least looks halfway decent. And I'm looking to see if I have any. I do not, but I may be able to pull a little bit. I may mix one more color. You know what, I think I will mix one more color just as a backup. I'm gonna add some green, which I was not going to do, but I am going to do now, just a little bit, nothing crazy, just to kind of give it some dimension. I don't have a whole lot of green out here, but again, I don't need a ton. I'm just going to do a tiny splash of distilled water in this bottle just to give me a little bit more paint out of here. I don't know why I wait till 8 o'clock at night to do this one. I know I have to work the next day, but ideally I want to be able to come home and do this all the time because I just love it. But in order to do that, I have to have sponsors and all kinds of craziness. If you like my stuff, I would love it if you share. If you like it because you're learning something, even better, because I'm learning as I go. Completely self-taught artist here, self-taught in YouTube, I should say, not completely self-taught. And like I said, I just want a tiny bit of green. So what I'm doing is I added a little bit of water to the bottle just to get the excess paint out, and then I'm adding some Floetrol just so it flows nice when I'm ready to use it. And then I'll go ahead and start with the white as my base coat. And what I mean by base coat is just that top, to cover the canvas, so we have a good flow going. And this green should be plenty good enough. Okay. Now I can go back the other way. I almost spilled that right off the table, so I should probably move that over. Okay. I'm gonna take the lid off of the, I need to make sure it's good. All this is white, Craft Smart, cheapy brand. My light went out. Give me a minute, let me get my light to come back on. I'm in the garage, because it's just easier. There we go. And I just want to make sure I get a good base coat. I have learned a little trick here and there along the way that I'm about to show you. This is not my favorite way, but it is one of the ways that I like to quickly spread a thin layer of paint. It just makes it fast. And then, 1 second please. I knew I was going to forget to bring something out here with me because I always do. So then I just use a little spatula and I kind of just make sure everything comes across the canvas. Just very lightly, I skim it. And I know that I have a lot in the middle, so I can spread that out. And it should flow right off the edges very nicely. Whoop. I try to go very soft so I don't, because if I hit the canvas, then I know I'm taking too much. But my biggest concern is making sure it comes over the sides, obviously. Okay. And then I will torch this just a hair to make sure there's no air bubbles. And I do see a couple spots that look to be in need of a little bit more paint. So what I will do is tilt this just slightly. So I'll tilt it this way so it can flow off the canvas. Come this way some. Tilt it to the side so it gets the corners. And as you can see, I just tilt it around. I should be doing it the other way so you're above my head, but this is just easier. This is the best angle from where I am in my garage. And it just helps. So then I can tilt it back this way. And I forgot to tape the back of this canvas too, so I'll probably paint the back black so that it's just not seen. Just easier that way. So now that that part is done, this is the tricky part. This is the part that's got me super nervous, but I'm hoping I can get this to work the way I'm thinking it will. So like I said, this is a little bit different, so I'm using a plastic cup. And it's already too much. Oopsie. This is already a disaster waiting to happen. Ugh. I need these kind of bottles for everything. We're going to keep going anyway because you just never know what you're going to get. But this is what I wanted to do. And I may be able to fix it doing this. Again, practice, right? Practice makes not so perfect, maybe. I don't know. Then I have this darker color, orange. I also did not add any silicone whatsoever. So I have to do this very, very, very slow, clearly. Otherwise, my awesome paint wants to go crazy. Oopsie. All right. And then the one that I have outside definitely has some darker tints to it. So I'm going to attempt to do some burnt orange look. Although that looks kind of pink. And then, of course, the brown in the middle, which I'm going to go dark to light. This totally looks like a big mess to me because it did not turn out how I was hoping. I may scratch it and do it all over again. But we'll see. Whoopsie, that's okay. And you know what? A couple little brown dots on the outside is totally what a sunflower looks like. So we'll do a dot here, dot there, tiny little drip there, drip there. Whoop, big drip. At this point it's like, yeah, whatever. All right, and then I have the lighter mocha kind of color. That's gonna go also in the center. I will probably add, I am gonna do a couple black dots, because again, that's what the center looks like. And then I feel like it's needing something on the outskirts here, maybe a little bit more of that darker orange out here. So I'm gonna go very, very carefully with some more of that. At this point, if it just looks halfway decent, I'll be happy. But I don't know what it's gonna look like. Ah! And maybe a smidge of white. Oh, I have this canary yellow too. Let's see if we can add that in somewhere. Do a little bit of that again. And then a tiny bit of white. Just in different spots to kind of blend that out some. All right. Now, this is the part that's kind of different than anything I've ever done. First, I'm gonna torch it, get all the air bubbles out. Like I said, there's no silicone whatsoever in any of this. I do see a ton of air bubbles though. So I want to make sure I get all those air bubbles out first. And I'm fighting against bugs flying in here, which is really kind of irate. All right. So I saw online someone do this with, like, do acrylic paintings with Saran Wrap. I know. Sounds completely and totally crazy, but I'm going to try it because I love to try something new. The only problem is I absolutely hate Saran Wrap because it clings to everything, as everyone knows. And if it gets caught or wrinkles, we're in big trouble. So, we've already got to a point where we all right, so we're gonna try this. Brace yourselves for complete craziness, because I have no idea if this is going to work. I missed it some over here. And we're working with an air bubble. So chances are I'm going to completely squash this. And what you do is you just press gently around all of the areas. Pretty fall colors at least, right? And then I'm trying to make sure I press everywhere. This Saran Wrap folded on me, so it's not completely perfect. All right, so then you take corner to corner. In this case, it's a little bit different. And you pinch it together. And then you take the other corner, and then the other corner, and you slowly but surely pull it up from the middle. And that actually does not look bad. Looks nothing like a sunflower though. But give me a minute. I'm gonna switch gloves so that I don't get the sides all gross with what I had. I'm going to tilt it slightly and torch it. And I'm not completely disappointed in this, shockingly. My one thing I would say is I probably have too much paint, but that'll change once I rotate this some. But first I want to torch it because there's some pretty cool stuff happening on the outskirts here. I mean, stunning here in the middle. I definitely don't want to lose that. I mean, even here on the outsides, it's gorgeous. I'm actually pretty happy with this. All right, so I'm gonna tilt it just a smidge to the left to try and get that paint to move a little bit. And then just a little to the right, because I definitely want to keep it as centered as possible. I may end up having to add a little bit of white to the corners. But I'm going to attempt to stretch this. I guess it won't hurt if a little bit of the yellow and orange go off, as long as I bring it back center. Which is what I'm gonna do, to bring it back center. But first, before I do anything else with this, I do wanna add paint white to the outsides, because I don't want it to go like white in the corners, because I don't want it to go too off the sides. So I definitely need to add white to the corners. Just because I do not, like I said, I do not want most of this coming off. So now if I tilt, I'm gonna tilt the white and not so much the oranges and reds and yellows. But if you notice, spreading it out, bringing it back middle. And I think I'm gonna leave it just like that. I'm gonna blow it just a hair. It may be off balance just a little bit, which is why we're having a little bit of an issue. But I have plenty of white down here that I can just put to the corners. When I mean blow, you'll see what I mean in a minute. I didn't even check the back side. Let's see. Yeah, we need to get some white over here on this back side. Didn't really cover up here like I was hoping it would. Your fingers are just as good for this, just so you know. I just don't want to, because I do have some color on my sides, I don't want to do too much of that. But I can totally run some. All right, so blowing. I'm going to use a straw and just blow some of this stuff out a little. Not a ton, but just a little. This is super hard to do. I'm gonna rotate this because it's very, very difficult to do. I just want to get that far corner some. Kind of like the way it looks like it's bursting out. Hopefully you guys can still see. All right, so I don't want to mess with this anymore. I think it looks pretty awesome, considering it's definitely not a sunflower. Definitely, definitely not a sunflower. No doubt about that. But I can handle that because it doesn't look too shabby. And what I'll do is I'll take you in for a close-up. Just give me a second. And I will do that once I get some whites there. All right. Torch it and then take you in for a close-up. Okay, not a whole lot of crazy action going on, but let me take you in for a close-up. apologize about the lighting. There's some cool little cell work in there. Oh, it's not focusing. There we go. Focus. There we go. I'm anxious to see what this looks like when it's dry. There's some cool little cells. Get in here towards the center. Pretty cool. I didn't even put a green in, but you can see some green. So, not what I wanted, but looks good.